Hello, how are you? Today it is, Tuesday, January 27th. Um, Welcome to Truly Sinister. My name is Wendy. I hope everybody's having a nice day. It is very sunny here in California. It's a little nippy, but not too bad. It's short sleeve weather, I would say, and I'm loving it. And I wish I could say the same for you guys on the East Coast. You guys are getting hammered back there. I feel terrible for you, and I hope everybody's staying safe and warm. I couldn't imagine. I don't think we ever go through stuff like that here, so it's hard to imagine what it takes to prepare for a storm like this. I know that my brother's supposed to be flying to Texas today, actually, so I don't know if he made it or not. I believe it's storming in Texas also. So yeah, I told him, I said, you might get there, but you may not make it home, so we'll see. What else? I sure everybody's heard about Aaron Spencer and the good news on his case. Luck's finally changing for him. I hope this is a sign of good things to come. He definitely deserves it. And he's been working hard to clear his name, and we've been working hard helping him, trying to help him anyway. I know that Defense Diaries went to Arkansas to be there for the hearing on Monday, and I guess they were going to fly, but they ended up driving because I guess Arkansas is not used to big storms and everything was closed. They closed everything down for the storm, so they weren't even sure they were going to hold the hearing because of the storm. I guess they freak out when it snows there. But yeah, Judge Elmore is gone, and rightfully so. She has no business. I don't think she has any business the bench. I mean, some of the decisions in the history of some of her decisions and the controversy they cause is I mean, I realize judges cannot be perfect, right? I mean, who is? Doctors aren't even perfect. People expect them to be, they're not. But when you have books to refer to, and when you have laws to back you, how do you make such abhorrent decisions? And how do you let your bias and prejudice show that obviously? I mean, it's one thing to kind of have your mind, kind of be leaning one way or the other, because ultimately you don't have the choice whether the person is innocent or guilty or not guilty. The jury has that decision. All you have to do is come up with a sentencing, unless, of course, it's a bench trial. And then, yes, it's up to you. But usually it's a jury trial, and so you come up with the sentencing. So your bias and your prejudice might show up there a little bit, but she just didn't give two fucks. I mean, literally, she was so blatantly anti-Aaron Spencer in the decisions she was making and some of the rulings that she made. It was really disgusting to watch. So I'm hoping that this new appointed judge will be much more fair and less biased and be more, what are they supposed to be, impartial? That's all we ask. Just be impartial. Don't have an opinion. Play it even across the board, be fair. That's all we're asking for, is to show Aaron fairness. Give him a fair trial. Let the people decide. Don't let your feelings intervene or, taint the trial. I mean, what kind of judge are you if you allow your opinions to come into the courtroom? You got to leave them at the door. Just like, I treat prisoners at the hospital. I treat them like any other like any other prisoner. I treat them like any other patient. I leave my feelings at the door. Of course, 90% of the time we don't know what they're serving time for, but some of them are lifers. So I can't imagine that what they're serving time for is good. I don't think I would support anything that would cause you to serve life, but I leave my feelings at the door. My opinion stays out in the hallway, doesn't come in the patient room with me. And I find that makes it easier to be human to them. They deserve me to treat them like a human being, just like I want them to treat me. They deserve to be treated like a human being, just like I want them to treat me like a human being. You respect me, I'll respect you. That's all I'm asking for. Nothing more, nothing less. Just be fair. Be even. Don't have a partiality. You're not supposed to anyway. You're a judge. So I wonder if she's been like this the whole time she's been on the bench. I wonder how long she's been on the bench. I know that they're elected, but I'm not sure when she was elected to the bench. But I wonder if she's always been like this, or if she just became like this because she needs to retire. She doesn't look that old. So I can't imagine it's because she needs to retire. She's burned out. Maybe she is. It's a little county in Podunk, Arkansas. So how many high-profile criminal cases could she possibly have sat on? How can she be burned out already? She looks young. Maybe it's just not what she should be doing for a living. I don't know. But she is gone, and I'm grateful for that. I'm sure Aaron Spencer is grateful for that. I don't think it really matters who he gets now. They can't be as bad as she is. You can't get any worse. So he's seen the absolute worst they have to offer, and hopefully now he'll see the best. And I'm still rooting for him. All posted as the trial comes closer. They have not, as far as I know, they have announced the new judge. I'm not sure who it is, but they have not announced, excuse me, a new trial date. And I'm sure that's because he needs to get himself up to date, up to speed on the trial or on the case, and he needs to familiarize himself with everything. And it's been going on. Michael Fossler was unalived on October 8th, 2024. So there's been a lot of plea motions and all kinds of papers filed that he's going to have to go, sift through and become familiar with. So it might be March, April. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he's quick, because I want him to get on with his life. I know that I think the re-election or the election for that county for sheriff is in November. So as long as we get him acquitted before November, I think we're okay. Even though I'd like it to be sooner. He needs to be able to get on with his life and focus on his daughter and getting her through this. Because, so much of the focus has been on him since this happened. And she's suffering too. She's going to be suffering the rest of her life. And she needs to get the counseling she deserves. And that's where our donations come in. And if you can afford to, even if it's just $1, I'm sure they would appreciate anything that you can give them. For his lawyer fees, for her counseling fees, it's not cheap at all. So we're thankful, we're happy for him, but he's still got a big fight on his hands. But I think this must have given him a breath of fresh air and like a rescue breath. And now he can reset and put on his boxing gloves and come in for the fight of his life, and we'll be here for it. So anyway, today I want to go over Kimberlee Singler's arrest warrant. For those of you who are not familiar with Kimberlee Singler, Let me see. I have an article to explain who she is. She is a mother of three who, okay, now, who in what year was that? 2023 is accused of unaliving two of her three kids and then fleeing to the UK. And they found her pretty quickly, but it's taken them this long to get her extradited because I guess the UK does not like to extradite. I'm not sure how old she is. She is 36 now, so she was 34 when this happened. So I'm going to read this article to you about the case. Okay, London. This was written in. This is a London article. A Colorado mom who is fighting extradition from Britain to the United States. Just one second. Okay, let's start over. A Colorado mom who is fighting extradition from Britain to the United States allegedly incapacitated her children and told them to close their eyes before fatally, trigger, and using a sharp object on two of them. A court heard on Wednesday. Sorry about that. I feel so stupid talking like that, but YouTube, Days after the bodies of her children, age 7 and 9, were found at her home in Colorado Springs on December 19th, Kimberlee Singler was arrested in London on December 30th. What? I thought she was on the run for 2 years. Isn't that what they said? Okay, I stand corrected. I apologize. Apparently, the bodies were found on December 19th. I must be conflicting two cases. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but I apologize and I stand corrected. She was not on the run for 2 years, so she was 36 when this happened. I must be conflicting this with a different case, and I apologize for that. False news. Do not repeat any of what I just said. So let's start over, okay? A Colorado mom who is fighting extradition from Britain to the United States allegedly incapacitated her children and told them to close their eyes before fatally banging and using a sharp object on two of them. A court heard on Wednesday. Days after the lifeless bodies of her children, aged 7 and 9, were found at her home in Colorado Springs, on December 19th, Kimberlee Singler was arrested in London on December 30th after flying to the UK. Singler, 36, is resisting American attempts to extradite her on the grounds that her alleged crimes, which she denies, carry an automatic sentence of life without parole, which her legal team argue is a breach of the European human rights law. Article 3 of the European Convention on Human Rights, a legally binding statute followed by 46 countries, including the UK, prohibits, quote, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, end quote. This is a picture of her. That's not what I pictured at all. Wow. Westminster Magistrates Court in central London heard details of how she allegedly unalived her children and is then said to have covered up her crimes. The 7 charges she faces, brought to the Colorado Springs Police Department and the FBI, include 2 counts of first-degree unaliving after deliberation and 2 counts of unaliving of someone under 12 by a person in a position of trust. She is also charged with the attempted unaliving of a 3rd child, 11, who survived despite serious injuries and was told to lie about the ordeal the court heard. So, can you imagine? You do this to your child. Wait, I screwed up again. Sorry. You do this to your child. Okay. Or to your children. And one of them, you fail at the task on one of them. But you don't have time to, try it again, or whatever reason she didn't try again. And you have the audacity to ask them not to tell the truth about it. That is a heartless human being right there. I can't even. How do you do that? I'm sorry that I didn't succeed on you, and I don't have time to wait around and try again, so just don't tell him, okay? For mommy? Are you flipping kidding me? I can't. I can't. I can't. That is something else, It takes all kinds, I guess. Where am I now? Shit. Sorry. Takes all kinds. The surviving child told police the perpetrator was a man who entered the home, and the poor child did it. She protected her mom, or he, but later told a foster carer that her mother was responsible for the attacks. Singler said that God told her to do it, the court heard, but I thought she was denying it. So is she denying it, or is she admitting to it and saying that God told her to do it? Which I'm confused here. Singler, who will give evidence in the 3-day hearing, spoke only to confirm her name and date of birth. Edward Fitzgerald, KC, said that she denies the charges against her and insists she is innocent. Joel Smith, KC, the attorney representing the U.S. government, said that the unalivings happened in the context of acrimonious, custody battle between Singler and the children's father. Singler had been ordered to transfer them to his custody, but failed to do so, Smith said. On December 19th, the day after a court order was issued, police responded to an emergency call at Singler's home and found the 2 children unalived. Quote, she shot the first child in the head and stabbed her in the neck. I just said 2 words I'm not supposed to say. I apologize. She banged the second child to the head and used a sharp object on her in the neck. She attacked the third child to the neck with a sharp object, causing serious lacerations, end quote, Smith said. Police found the 2 unalived children lying in bed together. Investigators also found live rounds and spent cartridges Investigators also found live rounds and spent cartridges were found in a closet, as well as a bang that had been handled by someone with blood on their hands, and a blood-stained sharp object, the court heard. She literally had blood on her hands. In the kitchen trash were 2 empty bottles of sleeping pills, Smith said. 2 empty bottles? That could have unalived them right there, don't you think? There had been no sign of a break-in. Quote, the surviving child said that the defendant had told the 3 children to close their eyes. She guided the first 2 children into the bedroom and approached the third child and told her to close her eyes. She then cut her to the side of the neck, unquote, Smith said. Smith argued that there was no barrier to Singler being extradited in human rights law because crimes in the U.S. can be committed by the governor. Because crimes in the U.S. can be commuted by the governor. I don't have my contacts or my glasses, so bear with me. A life sentence, which Singler is almost certain to receive, should not be a barrier to extradition, he said. Quote, in America, if there's an executive clemency route that is sufficient, That is sufficient, period. It does not have to be a judicial route, end quote. Fitzgerald, who also acted for Julian Assange in his long-running extradition case in London, argued that it would be unlawful to extradite someone who faces life without parole without considering any mitigating factors. Now, Julian Assange, isn't that the runner who was accused of unaliving his model fiance or something? The UK has 63 people under life sentences, while the US has 40,000 or 49,000. Are you kidding me? When I watch court cases from the UK, I've always been shocked at the light sentences that murderers get there. I mean, some of those people have committed the most heinous crimes, and they get 25 years or something like that. Nothing is 25 to life or 50 to life or life. It's crazy. I don't think they have the recidivism rate that we do. So I can't believe I said that word right the first try. So I don't know what they're doing right and what we're doing wrong, but I guess the lighter sentences, maybe that makes them feel thankful and so they learn from it and they don't re-offend. I don't know. Quote, "It's totally alien to us to say I would sentence you to life without parole simply because of the category of the offense without considering any of the person's circumstances," end quote, he said. Quote, "Here is a person with her first offense, a devoted mother." A devoted mother? Where do you get that idea? Did you not read the accusations against her? "Who does this out of the blue," end quote. He continued, quote, "Are we to say that this mandatory imposition of this sentence of life without parole would be fine?" End quote. I would. I'd be fine with that. The hearing is expected to last 3 days. So anyway, she was extradited, and she is now back in Colorado, where she will be standing trial, and we'll read her arrest documents right now. So let me find them, and of course that's going to be easier said than done, probably. I'm really not liking the bubble, so let me see if I can fix that first, and then we'll move on. How is this happening? This is a way more detailed article. We're gonna go read this article real fast while I'm still looking for the papers. Okay, sorry, that's my puppy. And if I tell them to stop, they'll just get worse. So I'm trying to ignore them, but they're making it really, really, really hard. Almost forgot. Sorry about that. Okay, court docs reveal custody battle involving Colorado mother accused of killing 2 of her children. Colorado Springs, Colorado. New court documents reveal there was a rocky custody battle involving a Colorado Springs mother accused of unaliving 2 of her children before she disappeared. Kimberlee Singler, 35, went back and forth for more than 4 years with her ex-husband over custody of their 3 children and time restrictions with their kids. Singler filed the petition for divorce from her ex in 2018, according to court documents. On May 22, 2019, the court considered a request from Singler to restrict the amount of time her ex-husband could spend with their children. There were delays in setting a day and time for a trial hearing, according to court documents. By August 28, 2019, Singler did not respond to the court's attempts to contact her. She was delivered a court summons to her home. In 2020, the case was transferred to another judge, and court documents said the couple worked to come to a separation agreement and a co-parenting plan for their children after their divorce. On January 5th, 2021, Singler filed a motion to move the children to Florida with her and assume, quote, immediate sole and temporary parental responsibility, end quote, according to the court documents. Singler and her ex-husband debated the request throughout 2021. On October 20th, 2022, the ex-husband filed an emergency motion to, quote, prevent abduction and to terminate the stipulated order, end quote, allowing the children to move to Florida with Singler. About a week later, the court scheduled an abduction prevention hearing, but Singler did not show up again. They attempted to contact her by phone and mail to her home address. On May 13, 2023, the ex-husband asked the court to modify parenting time. A month afterward, the court appointed a child and family investigator. On August 7, 2023, there was a court order for Singler to appear in response to her emergency motion to restrict her ex-husband's parenting time. Singler failed to appear, according to court documents, after sufficient time was given for her to make it to court. The court did not move forward with her request to limit her ex-husband's time with the children. Well, she's already limiting it by not showing up to court, because I'm sure she's not letting him see him during this time, right? She then filed again to restrict her ex-husband's parenting time on August 22nd, 2023. Does she think that all she has to do is file these court documents and it happens? She has to go to court after she files. She can't just file the paperwork and not show up for the hearings. There was a delay in Singler arriving in court. Imagine that. After testimony, the court ruled on September 9th, 2023, it did not find that time with the children's father would, quote-unquote, endanger their physical health or impair their emotional development. The court denied Singler's motion to restrict her ex-husband's parenting time. The court did, however, on September 29th, 2023, grant the mother's motion to restrict her ex-husband's time with the kids until an investigation into 2 claims against him could be completed. That's always what comes up next. The children's father was accused of felony, menacing, and false reporting after allegedly, quote-unquote, pulling a sharp object. Both parents were, isn't that ironic? Both parents were ordered to submit to a polygraph test, according to court documents. Wow. On November 7, 2023, the court denied Singler's request to be excluded from polygraph testing, the court document said. And why would they grant that? 10 days later, after hearing testimony on the matter, the court decided the ex-husband would not endanger the children's physical health or impair their emotional development and terminated the restriction on his parenting time. Sounds to me like they're finding out what a liar she is, if nothing else. At that point, the court ordered Singler and her ex-husband to communicate solely through the parenting app Close. Singler was ordered to bring her children to visit her ex-husband between December 16th and December 31st, according to court documents, to make up for time he missed when the accusations against him were being investigated. Singler was scheduled to meet her ex-husband with the kids at the Colorado Springs Police Department's Stetson Hills substation at 9 a.m. on December 16th. It is unclear at this time if Singler showed up for that meeting, but court documents said her ex-husband made an emergency motion for police to enforce the custody agreement the next day on December 17th. Singler was seen on December 23rd, Colorado Springs police said, after a burglary was reported on December 19th around 12:30 a.m. at a home near the intersection of North Powers Boulevard and Stetson Hills Boulevard. Singler and her 11-year-old daughter were found injured at the residence, police said. Officers also found a 9-year-old girl and 7-year-old boy unalived, also children of Singler's. Singler and the injured 11-year-old daughter were taken to a nearby hospital. Singler was allowed to leave the hospital because police believed she was a victim and a witness at the time. So she didn't leave them there. She stayed there. I forgot about that. I forgot she reported it as a robbery, so she was there when the police found the bodies. But she still asked her 11-year-old daughter not to tell the truth, not to tell them what what really happened. The Colorado Springs Police Department Homicide Unit then took over the investigation and determined the burglary report was unfounded. Investigators issued an arrest warrant for Singler on December 26th. Police said they do not know where she is, but the CSPD's Violent Offender Fugitive Task Force is currently searching for her. She did this right before Christmas. Could you think of a worse time there's no good time to do it, obviously, I'm not saying that, but can you think of a worse time to do such a horrible, horrific thing? Anybody with information on this case is asked to call the Colorado Springs Police Department. The 11-year-old daughter is safe, police said. Singler is wanted on the following charges: 4 counts of first-degree unaliving, Class 1 felony. 2 counts being for unaliving and attempted unaliving with intent after deliberation, and the other 2 for unaliving and attempted unaliving of a child under the age of 12 by a person in a position of trust. 2 counts of attempted first-degree unaliving. 2 counts of child abuse, Class 2 felony, child abuse, Class 3 felony, first-degree assault. A verified GoFundMe has been created to help the family. And I'll pin that at the bottom. The follow-up, what do you want? Oh, sorry, that's for the news station. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on there. That's too much. So let's get right into the freaking document, shall we? Sorry about that. I'm so embarrassed. I thought it was going pretty smoothly too, and I wasn't dumb enough to say anything because I didn't want to jinx myself, and then look what happened. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Just kidding. So there we have it. Let's blow it up here. Okay. District County Court, El Paso County, Colorado. The people of the state of Colorado, plaintiff, v. Singler, Kimberlee, defendant. Attachment A. The following affidavit is submitted to the court to document the probable cause in support of a request for the issuance of an arrest warrant for Singler Kimberlee, date of birth, age 36. Okay, I was trying to see if I could do something real fast. Sorry about that. Okay, this offense is fully documented in Colorado Springs Police Department Report 23-46877, detailing the offenses of, and then it lists her charges. We don't need to go through all those again. It was a 9-year-old female, a 7-year-old male, and an 11-year-old female was injured. It's heartbreaking. Your affiant, Detective Rebecca Joins, 4314, a police officer of the Colorado Springs Police Department, and so employed for over 11 years and now currently assigned to the homicide unit, states under oath that I have personal knowledge of the following facts, which are fully documented in CSPD Case Report 23-46877. On December 19th, 2023, at approximately 12:29 a.m., the Colorado Springs Police Department Communications Center received a Yeah, so, you know what? I was right. It did take them 2 years to bring her home. It didn't take them 2 years to find her, but it took them 2 years to extradite her. So I was right. I was just wrong about her leaving right after she did it. I was wrong about that. She did stay home and wait for the police to come and reported it as a robbery. But it took them 2 years to get her back here, to extradite her. So Now I don't feel so bad. Now I know I was right. Okay. Anyway, let's go back. On December 19th, 2023, at approximately 12:29 a.m., the Colorado Springs Police Department Communications Center received... She had my slippers this morning, so I'm paranoid about when I hear her chewing on something. Received a 911 call from a female, later identified as Kimberlee Singler, date of birth 7/27/1988, stating someone came to her apartment and attacked her and blank. Her address was identified as, and it's blank, redacted. Officers were dispatched to a burglary in progress, and upon arrival, they found two deceased children identified as date of birth 7/8/2016, age 7, and redacted, date of birth 4/29/2014, age 9. An additional 11-year-old identified as redacted, date of birth 4/1/2012, age 11, was transported to Children's Hospital, and Kimberlee Singler was transported to Penrose, Maine Hospital with injuries, and were found in the bedroom lying... blank and blank were found in the bedroom lying in bed together. Blank had an apparent slash wound to her throat. I was trying to think if I can say that word. To her throat, while it was unclear if blank had been banged or harmed with a sharp object. Officers observed a bang determined to be a .22 caliber semi-automatic handgun on the floor outside the bedroom closet that was covered in blood, which was found on the floor outside of the closet and was covered in blood. Officers observed live rounds on the closet floor, and during scene processing, 3 spent cartridge casings were located in the bedroom closet. The bang was later collected, and when examined, it was observed that the magazine and the live rounds in the magazine had blood on them, indicating to affiant the suspect loaded the firearm after they already had blood on their hands. The scene is a first-floor apartment with a single bedroom. Responding officers did not observe any signs of forced entry into the apartment. There are 2 entry doors into the apartment, one being the main entry door on the west-facing wall and a patio door on the north-facing wall. Both entry doors provided direct access into the living room area of the apartment. The patio door was closed and the blinds were closed as well, but there was blood on the carpet leading to the patio door and on the interior doorknob itself. There were footprints in the snow outside of the apartment near the patio door, but it was unknown if these were recent. Blank provided a brief statement to officers prior to being transported to the hospital. She said she was sleeping on the sofa bed in the living room area at the time of the attack. Blank told officers that this happened a few hours ago and that a male came in the side door of their apartment. Blank and blank possibly came over for a Christmas gift exchange, and officers did see open Christmas presents inside the residence. No further information was obtained from blank at this time. I mean, their printer is really crappy, considering this is a legal document. I mean, it is shitty. Kimberlee said blank, later identified as blank, date of birth 9/8/62, left town yesterday and was to return that day. The scene is reported as blank's apartment. Kimberlee initially reported the attack possibly happened at 11 a.m. on December 18th, although it did appear that Kimberlee was not fully coherent. Kimberlee did not identify a potential suspect at the time. It was repeated. She later told a nurse at Penrose, Maine Hospital it was blank who did this. Officers located premise history at the residence that had apparent DV nexuses to them. I don't know what that means. On November 17, 2023, there was a call for service regarding threats made by blank, identified as blank, date of birth 12/23/1985, in which he threatened to unalive the kids. Just one second. The notes in that call screen stated Kimberlee informed officers that the incident she wanted... Wait. The notes in that call screen stated Kimberlee informed officers the incident she wanted to talk about occurred in 2022 in Larimer County. Kimberlee showed officers printed pages of call logs and text messages which blank had provided to the courts. Officers noted they did not observe evidence to support a stalking had occurred. There have also been domestic violence-related protection orders and harassment calls for services as well between Kimberlee and blank. Due to the nature of the initial investigation, members of the CSPD homicide unit were assigned to this case to further the investigation. Your affiant located a domestic violence report from September 8, 2023, during which Kimberlee pulled a sharp object on her during a blank at the blank address. Blank told officers he walked up to Kimberlee's door and she came outside with some gifts to him from blank. Blank stated this was weird because normally the children come outside without Kimberlee, and he never sees Kimberlee during their exchanges. Blank stated Kimberlee was quote-unquote acting weird and shaking during their interaction. Blank stated Kimberlee handed him a picture drawn by one of the children of a bag of leaves and something plastic that was wrapped in a paper towel. Blank stated I'm just going to start saying the father because it's too confusing when I say blank. The father stated he grabbed the item in the paper towel and discovered it was a small paring sharp object with a 2-inch curved blade and a yellow handle. The father stated when he grabbed it, Kimberlee stated, quote, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" end quote, and went back inside. The father stated he dropped the sharp object and left the area. The father stated he immediately thought that Kimberlee was trying to frame him because she isn't doing well with the blank battle, whatever that is, the child custody battle. I don't know why they have to leave that blank. Your affiant looked into the blank and blank proceedings documented under Larimer County Court docket number and blank redacted, and saw the redacted arrangement was altered in November of 2023, and blank was awarded additional parenting time. We know that that's what it says from the last article we read. The court notes stated, redacted, were supposed to be transferred to the father on December 16th, 2022 through December 31st, 2023. On December 19th, 2022, at approximately 9:04 a.m., your affiant responded to blank home in Greeley, Colorado, and informed him of the deaths of blank and was not and blank. The father was not previously aware of what occurred in Colorado Springs with blank and explained he had been working from approximately 11:30 p.m. on December 17th to approximately 2 p.m. on December 18th, after which he returned home. Your affiant was able to confirm with redacted employer that he clocked into work on December 17, 2023 at 11:28 p.m. and clocked out at 1:26 p.m. on December 18th. Your affiant was further informed the father drove a truck route in Thornton, Colorado during that time. Your affiant was provided with records from the father, which showed the father's GPS tracked route. These records confirmed that the father was driving in the area north of Denver at the time Kimberlee reported the attack occurred in Colorado Springs. Your affiant asked the father about the child custody arrangement, and he explained he tried to have blank picked up by blank on Saturday, December 16th, but Kimberlee did not respond to his lawyer's request until Saturday morning, and Kimberlee did not agree to give blank or blank. Kimberlee told the father's lawyer she was out of town and wouldn't be back until Wednesday night. The father's lawyer filed a motion with the Larimer County Court to enforce the parenting time on Sunday morning, December 17th, 2023, and on Monday morning, December 18th, 2023. They were notified by the court that Magistrate Esser issued an order for Kimberlee to bring the children to court on Wednesday, December 20th, 2023, to exchange the children prior to the date. The court notes stated a voicemail was left for Kimberlee regarding this order on December 18th, 2023. She just blows them off like they don't hold any kind of power over her or the kids. Your affiant was able to observe that order and saw it stated, quote, if petitioner fails to exchange the children prior to this court appearance, fails to bring the children to court, or fails to appear for court, the court will entertain further argument regarding more drastic measures, such as issuing a warrant instructing law enforcement to take physical custody of the children, end quote. The father and his lawyer expressed concern that Kimberlee was involved in the deaths of redacted, but could not provide any specific reason why or describe any threats she had made outside of Kimberlee telling him he would never see the kids during an earlier custody dispute in the summer of 2023. After Kimberlee, it's really hard to read with all these redactions. After Kimberlee was released from the hospital, Detective A. Gardner, 5166, conducted an interview with her at the Police Operations Center. It was noted Kimberlee sustained cuts to both of her wrists and both sides of her neck. It did not appear that Kimberlee had defensive wounds, which is odd. During the interview with Kimberlee on December 19, 2023, Kimberlee said she suspected the father was the one behind all of this, as she suspected he sent someone on his behalf. Kimberlee talked about her relationship with the father, and she said he always tries to frame her. That's a weird thing to say. There's never physical evidence to tie to him that redacted is trying to get her arrested and the kids taken away from her. Kimberlee told Detective Gardner that the father previously told her of a vision he had where he killed her and the kids. In this vision, the father described banging blank and blank, but he did not describe what happened to Kimberlee or redacted. Kimberlee said she felt the father had tried to kill her when they were blank, and only explained the father would leave the doors unlocked and people would show up at the house and sit out front. Kimberlee expressed that the father and his attorney are playing games with her and waited for her to be evicted so they could complain to the courts that she was moving to make it difficult for the father to see the kids. Kimberlee gave some historical context to court hearings regarding the father of their children. She said the father admitted in court to the dream he had had of unaliving the family and of other concerning behaviors she would bring forward. But the court found the father credible and her not credible. Kimberlee questioned who else would have the motivation to do this besides the father. Kimberlee talked about a recent arranged exchange. I don't know what that's, but redacted redacted, sent, redacted, to get the kids on December 16th, 2023. Kimberlee said she was confused and it made her look bad as she did not take the kids even after having been contacted by police. Kimberlee said the father was supposed to have the kids for 2 weeks ending December 30th, 2023. Kimberlee told Detective Gardner she knew the father would file something and try to take the kids from her. When asked if anything had been filed, Kimberlee said she did not know as she did not look. How can you not look? Because she doesn't care. She's not going to follow the court's orders anyway. Kimberlee talked about her checking the status of the court motions in the blank case through an online e-file system with the Larimer County courts. Kimberlee talked about what happened and said she woke up feeling weird and woozy and wondered if someone came in, quote, and did something the night before, end quote. Kimberlee described blank and blank as sleeping in late and acting drowsy as well. She said she forgot to lock the patio door, so the patio door had been unlocked from December 17, 2023. On December 18, 2023, at approximately 11 a.m., she was in between the living area and the only bedroom in the condo. I thought it was an apartment, but I guess that doesn't really matter. When someone entered through the patio door, Kimberlee believed the person must have attacked blank first, and as she was going to the bedroom, the suspect grabbed her upper arms from behind and spun her around. Kimberlee could see the suspect as a dark figure, but could not provide a further detailed description. Kimberlee assumed the suspect was a man because of the strength and height of the person, but had no additional details regarding the suspect. Kimberlee discussed having a medical condition that causes her to faint or lose consciousness frequently, and after the suspect grabbed her, she fainted. What is it, narcolepsy? I've never heard of such a thing. When Kimberlee regained, they need to check her doctor's records for that, because I don't believe it. When Kimberlee regained consciousness, she was on the sofa bed in the living room and saw blank was next to her on the sofa bed and had sustained injuries. Kimberlee got up and locked the patio door, after which she went to the bedroom and found blank and blank unalive on the bed. Kimberlee reported she covered them both with a blanket, and when she saw blank, she thought she looked uncomfortable, even though she knew she was unalive. So Kimberlee put a pillow under her head. Horrific. Kimberlee said at that point she was very weak and faint, so she had to go lay down back on the sofa bed next to blank. So she didn't call 911? What are we fucking doing here? And she's a good mother? Are you kidding? And she locked the door before she went and checked on her other kids? Kimberlee stated she was able to get water for blank throughout the day to keep her comfortable, but she did not have the energy to look for her cell phone. You couldn't knock on a neighbor's door and yell for help. Wow. Just wow. Kimberlee said she was also too weak to get a neighbor. Well, sorry, I should have read on first. Neighbor, and further was worried the suspect was waiting for them outside. Kimberlee said she was she was waiting for redacted to return home, but redactor never returned. Kimberlee said just before calling 911, her phone randomly started playing music, which alerted her to its location, and she was able to find her phone and call police. Another statement made by Kimberlee during the interview was that she felt the suspect injured her and cut her wrists to make it look like a unaliving suicide if she were to have died. After the interview with Kimberlee was completed, she was released pending further investigation. While Detective Gardner was conducting an interview with Kimberlee, and while the scene investigation was being conducted, Detective J. Gasper 3337 was assigned to respond to Children's Hospital to determine the medical status of redacted, and to determine if she could provide any suspect information or description of the assault/unalivings that occurred. Blank was in surgery initially. However, once surgery was complete, she was moved to the pediatric intensive care unit for recovery. Redacted was able to provide Detective Cooper with a description of what she recalled about the incident. Redacted stated that she was watching YouTube on the TV in the living room while sitting on the couch. She said, redacted, Kimberlee Singler, so mom, had the side patio door open. She said she thought the door was open to let some air in the residence. Quote, and then the person came in and cut me with a sharp object on my neck. And I was the first one, and that's kind of all I remember. End quote. Detective Gasper asked if she remembered what the person looked like. She said it was, quote, just a man, end quote, and added that she had never seen that person before. The child stated she didn't believe she would be able to recognize the man if she saw him again. The child explained the door that was open led to an enclosed patio, and it was the patio door that was open. She explained at the time the incident occurred, her brother, her sister, and Kimberlee were all home. She said they lived with blank, redacted, who was not home, and that she was with her mom on the couch, and that Kimberlee was she was with redacted on the couch, and Kimberlee was in the only bedroom in the residence at the time of the attack. In order to attempt to establish a timeline as to when the attack occurred, Detective Gasper asked the daughter about what time of day the man entered her residence. The daughter stated it was still bright outside and it was going into the afternoon hours. She said that if she had to guess at time, she believed the incident occurred between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Detective Gasper commented that it was dark out when the police were notified of the incident. The daughter explained that Kimberlee couldn't find the phone. She described herself as laying in the apartment and was in pain, and she encouraged Kimberlee to try and find the phone to call for help. The daughter stated that Kimberlee was helping her get water while she was unable to find her phone. The daughter also stated that she tried to go to sleep, but she was awake for a while. She said she got some naps in during this time frame, however, but she was kind of awake. The daughter added during the time frame she was in her apartment after the attack, Kimberlee stayed with her and was trying to make sure that she was okay. Kimberlee would go check on her children, but she rested with the daughter just to make sure she was okay. The daughter said they were resting in the living room. Gasper inquired about whether there was any discussion about leaving the residence to try to find help. The daughter stated that she encouraged Kimberlee to try to go outside and ask for someone's help. The daughter stated the reason Kimberlee was eventually able to find her phone was because loud Christmas music started playing from the phone, which allowed for Kimberlee to locate the phone and call police. While at the hospital, Detective Gasper contacted Blank, who was the physician responsible for care. Detective N. Black, 5400, and crime scene investigator A. Hartman, 6850, conducted the scene investigation, while interviews and additional follow-up activities described above were ongoing. There were several notable items of evidentiary value that were collected during the scene investigation. In the kitchen trash, the following items of evidence were located. A. Empty prescription bottle prescribed to Kimberlee Singler, filled at King Soopers RX, quantity 60, take 1 to 2 tablets by mouth every evening as needed. Description of tablets, round white markings dispensed, no refills. Unisom, 2 empty boxes for Unisom sleep tabs, 90 count tablets and 80 count tablets. Advil liquid gel, 1 empty box for Advil liquid gel, 200 milligrams, 160 count tablets. The bottle was observed in luggage in the bedroom near other, I don't know what that says, near other over-the-counter products. Ripped up court documents from a November 17th court hearing related to Larimer County Court, case number redacted. I would say that they were probably overdosed. She probably didn't have to do the excessive acts of banging and using a sharp object on them. It sounds like she OD'd them. I mean, geez. Furthermore, blank and blank were located on the bed within the sole bedroom of the apartment. Blank was lying on the bed, on his back, facing up towards the ceiling on the right side of the bed, as viewed standing at the front of the bed. His right arm extended downward toward his torso, and his right hand was sitting on his stomach. Was resting on his stomach. Was to blank left and was laying on her right side, facing left. Redacted was observed to have significant injuries to her throat. So why would a random person come in and unalive them and then place them on the bed like that? That sounds like something someone who loved them would do, like a mother. Just saying. After the El Paso County Coroner's Office responded to the scene, Redacted was moved. Investigators located a round white pill underneath Redacted's body. The pill had markings redacted and redacted on it. Also located in the bedroom to the right of the bed, as viewed standing at the foot of the bed, between the closet and the bed, a .22 caliber semi-automatic firearm was located. The firearm was on the floor just outside of the closet. There was apparent blood located on the exterior of the firearm. When investigators ejected the magazine from the firearm, it was noted that there was apparent blood on the magazine and the ammunition contained within the magazine. So she loaded the magazine too after she used this sharp object on them. She wasn't very organized, I would think. This finding is consistent with the suspect handling the firearm after at least one victim had been severely injured, based on the quantity of blood located on the firearm. Investigators could not determine if blank or blank had been shot while the scene investigation was ongoing. As investigators continued with the scene investigation, it was noted that there was no cast-off blood stains or blood spatter on the walls, furniture, or any other location within the apartment. Now it's an apartment again. This finding is consistent with a suspect causing severe lacerations to multiple victims' necks, while those victims would be unable to defend themselves for some reason at the time of the attack. Yeah, because they were OD'd. Now it looks big again. I mean, this is terrible. Their copy machine is terrible. Okay, on the living room floor, near a mattress with pink bed coverings in the middle of the room, a sharp object was located. The sharp object had a black handle and silver blade. There was apparent blood located in multiple areas of the sharp object, including the blade and the handle. Investigators examined the patio area previously described by redacted. Investigators noted there was no disturbance in the dust or dirt on any railing of the patio or on the ground around the patio. There were no obvious footwear impressions in the snow outside the area leading directly to the patio. Additionally, there was no blood evidence found on the patio, and the patio furniture, which was positioned just below the railing, was neat and orderly. Additionally, so there's no blood on the railing or the patio furniture, and yet this person supposedly climbed over the fence or the railing to get away because the front door, I believe, was still locked. Additionally, there was no blood evidence located in the front porch area or on the walkway leading to the front entrance to the apartment. On December 26, 2023, redacted of the El Paso County Coroner's Office conducted the autopsies for the son and daughter. It was determined that redacted sustained a gunshot wound to the top and center of her forehead. This injury was not visible until her hairline was cleared and examined in detail. It was noted that stippling was present. Your affiant advises the court, based on training and experience, that stippling is only present when a gunshot is fired within a relatively close range. That doesn't make sense. Is only present when a gunshot is fired within a relatively close range of fire. I think they mean when the person is within close range. But that's a terrible sentence. And I am grammar Nazi, so anyway. An exit wound was located in the middle of the back of redacted's head, and redacted also sustained several lacerations to the front of her neck. The manner of death was determined to be homicide. Upon examining redacted noted a gunshot wound to the left side of the forehead. This injury was not visible until his hairline was cleared and examined in detail. An exit wound was located behind redacted's right ear, and a projectile was recovered from redacted's right index finger. Redacted also had a superficial laceration to the right side of his neck. The manner of death was determined to be a homicide. It was noted that neither the boy or the girl had identifiable defensive wounds, because they were, I'd be willing to bet that they were almost dead already just from all the drugs or all the sleep medicine she gave them, because she gave them there was a total of 4 empty bottles. The evidence on scene and observations at autopsy lead investigators to believe that redacted had to be moved after having been shot. It appeared that redacted's right hand was likely underneath his head at the time of the shooting, based on the fact that a projectile was located in his right index finger. Later in the day, on December 20th, 2023, redacted, after having been released from the hospital, participated in a forensic interview regarding events from the evening of Sunday, December 17th. Through the time when officers arrived during the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 19th, the forensic interview was completed by investigative specialist Jay McKnight, 6567 at the Police Operations Center. It should be noted that investigators did not observe redacted to have visible defensive wounds during their interactions with her prior to, during, or after this interview. In addition to the above statement, Redacted made during her previous interview with Detective Gasper. Redacted stated that she saw, quote unquote, a man standing on the exterior of the apartment prior to the attack. She stated that she saw, quote unquote, a man climb over the balcony on the exterior of the apartment and, quote unquote, break into the apartment on the patio door. She described that this was the same person who attacked her and caused her injury. She said Kimberlee, Redacted, and Redacted were also, quote unquote, cut. Redacted again described how Christmas music played on Kimberlee's phone, which allowed them to find the phone and call for help. The daughter recalled that when police arrived on scene, they told her to be careful because there was a sharp object laying on the floor nearby. The daughter described the sharp object as a kitchen knife, but she was unable to provide a description of it. The daughter said the knife felt rigid as she was being cut by it. She said she didn't know if the knife was his or if he got it from the kitchen. Well, if she saw him standing outside the door before he broke in, wouldn't she have seen him go to the kitchen before coming to hurt her? I'm not sure that story would stand up. Wow. Okay, so where was I? The daughter didn't see the man go into the kitchen prior to the attack. She stated she thought she fainted after she was attacked. Well, that still wouldn't prevent her from seeing him go in the kitchen because he would have had to go in the kitchen to get it before he attacked her, right? Just one second. When further describing the quote-unquote naps she took after being attacked, the daughter stated she only really remembered the last time she woke up. She described being scared and stated she was in pain. The daughter said she tried not to look around because she was scared. Breaks my heart. She recalled seeing Kimberlee and remembered Kimberlee was also injured. The daughter said Kimberlee did not talk to her about what happened during the incident, and Kimberlee was trying to comfort her. Let's take a little break because my mouth is dry and yeah. That is so heartbreaking. And the fact that the mother asked her not to tell the police the truth, it really puts her in a position that she should never have been put into. I mean, this mother is undeniably evil. You know, I mean, she's presumed innocent until proven guilty. But from what I can tell, she's already pretty much admitted to it because she said that God told her to do it. So, but I will hold my opinions until the trial. I don't know, you know, these kids are a little old for her to be suffering from postpartum, and there was an ugly custody battle going on. So it's hard not to assume that she figured if she can't have these kids, nobody will. But we need to wait for this case to play out and find out all the facts relating to it before we can come up with any kind of opinion, really. You know, like I said, I have to practice what I preach, and I was saying that Judge Elmore needed to keep her bias at the door, and I need to keep mine at the door. Just because she said God made her do it or God told her to do it doesn't mean she hasn't been proven to have done it yet. So I have to remember that, and I have to keep my opinions at the door. So I'm going to try and work on that, and I'm going to try and do that because I don't want to be a hypocrite. But man, if the daughter did tell the police that the mother told her to lie or to not tell them who really did it, that breaks my heart. Because now she's making the daughter choose between her siblings and her mom. Does she tell them who really did it so that her siblings get justice? Or does she lie for the mom? Because if her mom gets taken away, then she has no one. I mean, she still has her dad, yes, but she went from having 4 family members besides her to 1. That's beyond heartbreaking as far as I'm concerned. I couldn't imagine. Okay, let's go back and start doing. It's 7 of 14. We're halfway through. When discussing Kimberlee's actions, the daughter said she didn't really see Kimberlee looking for the phone. She described Kimberlee had cuts and was in a lot of pain. She said Kimberlee couldn't really look for the phone because she was in pain. The daughter said so she must not have gotten that rush of adrenaline that mothers usually get to overpower something to save their kid's life. She must not have experienced that. Is that what I'm hearing? The daughter said Kimberlee would occasionally stand up to look for the phone, but couldn't further describe attempts to locate the phone. I.S. McKnight inquired as to whether weapons are kept in the residence. The daughter stated she didn't think so, unless redacted had something that she didn't know about. She speculated as to the possibility of Kimberlee having a weapon, but said she really didn't know. The daughter stated she didn't recall hearing any gunshots during the incident. The daughter further stated she didn't learn that her brother and sister were deceased until she was in the hospital. When asked to better describe the scene, the daughter stated the window coverings on the patio door were open. The blinds were fairly straight, but were pointed downward slightly. She described the window coverings covered the length of the window. Urifiant advises the court that the living room blinds, the patio door blinds, and the bedroom blinds in the apartment were all in a fairly fully closed position when officers first arrived on scene. In addition, there was no blood observed on the strings of any of the blinds, which would indicate the blinds had been in a closed position prior to the stabbing occurring. During the forensic interview, the daughter described an impromptu Christmas party the evening of Sunday, December 17th. She said she thought her dad might come back and pick them up, which is why she believed they celebrated Christmas early. She said Kimberlee was acting a little different that day because they were celebrating Christmas early. The daughter stated that Kimberlee wasn't telling them everything, and she stated that it was a, quote, complicated situation, end quote, with her. The daughters described that Kimberlee gave her brother and sister medicine that same night, which they had never taken before. The daughter said they did have a cough, which is why Kimberlee gave them the medicine. The daughter said the medicine, the redacted medicine that she gave them tasted, quote unquote, disgusting and yucky. She further described the medication as having a powdery feel. She said that her brother and sister had to take extra medicine because she redacted had been feeling better. The daughter said they also took cough syrup at Kimberlee's direction. The daughter stated redacted gave them milk and water to help them drink the medicine and continuously apologized for them having to drink it. The daughter also stated she experienced an upset stomach after drinking the medicine and said she felt tired but acknowledged it was normal for her to feel tired at that time of night. It should be noted that the daughter did test positive for the flu while she was at Children's Hospital. I.S. McKnight asked the daughter where Kimberlee got the medicine from. She said she believed that Kimberlee might have got the medicine from King Supers because that is where she got all of her medicine. The daughter was asked to describe how blank gave her the medicine, and she told I.S. McKnight that Kimberlee gave it to her in a mug with tan-colored exterior and blue-colored interior, which might read, quote, "You are redacted and you are crazy." Based on the daughter's statements, photographs taken at the scene were reviewed and a mug was observed which matched the wording provided by the daughter. However, the mug was white in color. A mug with a tan-colored exterior and blue-colored interior with the phrase "better late than ugly" was also observed in the redacted photographs. Both mugs in some way were described by the daughter, was unable to describe the mugs used by redacted. Described that she missed school due to being sick that Monday through Thursday prior to the attack. She explained that she had a stuffy/runny nose and a cough. She said that while she was sick, Kimberlee didn't give her the powdery medicine. This was a new medication that was given to her. The daughter, who after the initial investigation began, had been placed in protective custody of the El Paso County Department of Human Services, was further placed with a foster family after the interview was completed. It's hard to read, sorry. Later in the evening on December 20th, 2023, Detective Gardner conducted another interview with Kimberlee. Detective Gasper conducted an interview with redacted simultaneously. Kimberlee made the following statements to Detective Gardner during this interview. Kimberlee mentioned she was in between the living room and bedroom when she heard redacted talking, and she was grabbed, which caused her to nearly have a heart attack. She said she was spun around and everything was a blur. She said she remembered dark, as if they were wearing dark clothing. She said her mouth was covered before she blacked out. Kimberlee said she woke up on the bed by the daughter and was afraid the daughter had passed. After realizing the daughter was alive, she asked the daughter how she was doing. After checking the daughter out, Kimberlee said she got up, was feeling woozy, but went to check on the daughter and son in the bedroom where they were last seen. Kimberlee said she saw redacted on the bed and a gun on the floor, so she checked on the kids. Kimberlee said she saw quote-unquote bullets in redacted's forehead, and she felt redacted's head, and she described redacted as having a big bump on the left side of his head. So it seemed like he had been shot too. Regarding other injuries she saw on redacted, Kimberlee said their necks had also been slashed. Kimberlee talked about covering the son and daughter up with a blanket because she did not know what to do, and it was a horrible night. Okay, that's a little odd. After returning to the living room, Kimberlee noticed the patio door, was slightly ajar, so she got up and closed and locked the door before laying down. Kimberlee did acknowledge nobody else was in the apartment when she woke up. Kimberlee again mentioned she did not have the strength to look for her phone and figured the roommate would be home in the afternoon and they could call 911. When asked why she did not go and seek help from a neighbor, Kimberlee said she was so weak and did not have the strength to go wandering around. Kimberlee reiterated she was able to find her phone after it started playing music and she was able to call 911. Kimberlee did mention she saw the knife on the bed after she woke up, and she eventually grabbed a hold of the knife and placed it on the floor. Kimberlee did not recognize the knife as being one from the kitchen. Regarding medication, she gave redacted when they were recently sick. Kimberlee said she gave a liquid form of children's Tylenol to redacted, and all 3 kids got cough syrup. Kimberlee mentioned she recently got a prescription for a sleeping pill as she had been suffering from insomnia. Kimberlee said she tried this sleeping pill once, but it also made her feel groggy, so she did not keep using it. So why were the bottles empty? Is she going to say she flushed them? Kimberlee denied having any concerns with redacted, even though redacted knew the location of the gun inside the apartment. Kimberlee thought this was done by whoever was watching her in October of 2022. Redacted made the following statements to Detective Casper during their interview. Detective Casper asked the daughter to describe what had occurred in the 24 to 72 hours prior to the incident. The daughter explained that there was a planned children exchange between Kimberlee and the father on December 16, 2023, Saturday. The daughter went on to explain that the father arrived at the CBS PD Stetson Hills subdivision to take custody of the children for redacted. Kimberlee did not allow the father to take custody of the kids because the kids were supposed to be exchanged between quote-unquote parties per the divorce agreement. Kimberlee considered the father to be one of the quote-unquote parties and did not consider the father to be a party authorized to take custody of the kids. Therefore, Kimberlee did not relinquish custody of the children at that time. The father's lawyer became involved in this particular incident, and it was determined that the child exchange, or the custody exchange, would take place on December 21st, 2023, a Thursday. The daughter explained that the father wanted custody of the kids, and there was an ongoing custody battle between Kimberlee and the father. She went on to explain several incidents where the father displayed concerning behavior with the kids. During this conversation, she explained that Kimberlee has not been able to afford an attorney and has been handling all of the custody issues on her own. Sometimes they redact the word custody, sometimes they redact the word children. It's very confusing. The daughter explained that judges in Fort Collins Greeley have repeatedly not listened to Kimberlee's claims about perceived concerning behaviors regarding the father, despite evidence Kimberlee has provided to the courts. The daughter explained that according to statements made by the kids and by Kimberlee, the father is not a protective parent and provides little structure for the kids. That sounds like something an adult would say. Little structure. She explained that Kimberlee provides protection and structure the kids need. Despite Kimberlee's efforts to restrict the father's time, the courts repeatedly ruled that there was no evidence and would give the father his parenting time back, and extra time was awarded for the time missed while court proceedings took place. The daughter went on to explain several instances in which there were allegations of menacing with a knife, guns in the car with the children, and issues regarding child support and spousal support payments after Kimberlee and the father got divorced. She explained that Kimberlee accused the father of threatening her with a knife, but no arrest was made. I'm just done with the whole, using other words instead of knife and gun. I'm done with it. It's if they take this down, they take it down. She said that Kimberlee knew the father to have many guns, and he would keep them in the car with the children, which was perceived to be unsafe. The daughter explained that there was an incident that occurred last year in which Kimberlee left the state with the kids and drove to Utah. Kimberlee reported that someone was watching her at her residence, and when she left, people were following her to Utah. She explained that Kimberlee did what she felt like she needed to do in order to keep the children safe. It sounds to me like she might be a little cuckoo, is what it sounds like. Just one second. And I don't mean the daughter. I mean Kimberlee. Sounds like she's got a screw loose. Like she's a chicken nugget short of a Happy Meal or whatever. Just one second. I need to go get some chapstick. My lips are really, 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 really gross right now. Just one second. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. I love this chapstick. It's called Bitch Sticks. Can you see that? I love it. You can get it through Amazon. Absolutely love it. This is coconut flavor, I believe. Or coconut scented. It doesn't have a flavor. Okay, so let's see. Where were we? Detective Gasper and the daughter discussed whether or not Kimberlee has ever sought mental health assistance to help her deal with the stress caused by the father. She said no. The daughter stated that Kimberlee has not been diagnosed with any mental health conditions. She sounds like a very mature 11-year-old. I've got to tell you. Wow. She said that Kimberlee has a thyroid condition that is hereditary, and the only medication that Kimberlee takes is to treat the thyroid condition. The daughter stated she did not know Kimberlee to have any issues sleeping, nor was she aware of Kimberlee taking any sleep aids to deal with the issues sleeping. The daughter stated she was aware that redacted sustained gunshot wounds to the head. She said she couldn't help but think that the father was somehow behind this. That sounds like her mom talking. That he hired somebody to do this. Detective Gasper inquired as to how the daughter knew the father how the daughter knew that her brother and sister sustained gunshot wounds to the head. She said Kimberlee told her that the kids have gunshot wounds and that Kimberlee was aware of the gunshot wounds because she found the kids. As a reminder, investigators on scene were unable to observe any gunshot wounds to either the boy or the girl, and the presence of any gunshot wounds was not determined until the autopsies were completed. Whoops. So how did Kimberlee know they were shot? If seasoned detectives couldn't even tell. Their hair was obviously not pulled back by Kimberlee to identify the gunshot wounds because they said when they got there, the hair was covering them. Very interesting. Very interesting. The daughter advised Detective Gasper there was a firearm in the house which was registered to redacted. Probably the roommate, I guess. She explained that the firearm was given to her youngest redacted, who currently lives in Korea. According to the daughter, redacted purchased the firearm and gave it to redacted for self-protection purposes. The daughter stated that the firearm was kept in a box in the closet and that the firearm was never loaded. However, she believed that there was ammunition kept in a smaller box in a different location within the closet. The daughter said she assumed that the firearm was located where she last put it. The daughter further explained she hadn't physically seen the gun in the past year. The daughter said the only people who would know where the firearm was kept was herself, redacted, and Kimberlee. She explained that her residence is relatively small, as is her bedroom closet. She alluded isn't it eluded? I don't know. She alluded to the fact that there are limited spaces for the firearm where the firearm could be stored. That was a bad sentence. She also stated that she couldn't imagine Kimberlee being able to do something like this. The daughter said Kimberlee really loved and protected the kids. The daughter asked Detective Casper what Redacted saw, and Detective Gasper told her that he couldn't provide her with specifics as to Redacted's statement. Detective Gasper advised the daughter that Redacted was alive and did see some things during the incident. No specifics were provided regarding Redacted's statements. So that must be Kimberlee. Why do they use Kimberlee's name sometimes and sometimes they don't? The daughter stated she was not home at the time of the incident. Oh no, that must be the roommate. Redacted stated that she was not home at the time of the incident. She explained that on December 17th, Sunday, she was with a friend and intended on spending one night at her friend's residence after they were going to go Christmas shopping that day. While she was away from home on December 18th, Monday, she reached out to Kimberlee several times and was unable to reach her. She said Kimberlee has a bad habit of not returning messages. The roommate stated that she sent Kimberlee a message later in the evening on December 18th, 2023, excuse me, and advised her she would be home early. Would be home early the following morning, December 19th, which is Tuesday. This message was sent to Kimberlee because Redacted was watching a movie with a friend. It got late, and she decided to spend a second night at her friend's residence. Regarding the kids being ill, Redacted stated that she, along with the kids, had been sick on and off since the week of Thanksgiving. She said the kids got sick twice during this time frame. Redacted advised that Redacted had a cough for an extended period of time. She said Kimberlee had also been sick during this time frame. Redacted said Kimberlee took the kids to an urgent care a couple of times when they had the flu. The children were prescribed antibiotics to treat the illness and suppress the symptoms they were experiencing. Redacted could not recall which doctor Kimberlee took the children to. According to Redacted, in the days leading up to the incident, Redacted had a cough and Redacted had a runny nose. She said the illness symptoms did not appear to be too serious. She described the symptoms she observed were symptoms of the common cold. Detective Gasper showed Redacted photographs of a Unisom box that was located in the trash at her residence during the scene investigation. Redacted advised that the medication did not belong to her and she could not explain where it came from. Redacted stated she was unaware if Kimberlee was taking sleep medication or not and had no knowledge of the Unisom being in her residence. Detective Gasper also showed the roommate a digital photograph of the knife located at the scene. The roommate examined the photographs and stated she did not recognize the knife located at the scene. She pointed out differences between the knife, which had blood on it, and knives she had in the silverware drawer. She indicated she did not believe the knife that appeared to be used during the incident came from her residence. The roommate stated that she knew that Kimberlee had knives of her own that were Cutco brand. I have Cutco knives, which were kept in her detached garage number 18, which is located near her residence. She advised that Kimberlee's knives were being stored in a box in garage number 18. The roommate consented to a search of the garage, which was later completed by Urafiant, and the knives were sealed in a storage box. The roommate stated she asked Kimberlee if she recognized the knife located at the scene, and Kimberlee said no. Detective Gasper then showed the roommate digital photographs of the firearm located at the scene. She identified this as being the same firearm that she kept in her closet. She described the firearm as being a quote-unquote Beretta. She also identified the firearm's magazine, which was depicted in a separate photograph. The roommate told Detective Gasper that Kimberlee also stated that the roommate, would be coming home on Monday afternoon. The roommate reiterated that she felt like something could possibly had been wrong when Kimberlee did not respond to her messages on December 18th. The roommate recalled Kimberlee told her after the incident that the firearm kept in their apartment was used to shoot the children. The roommate asked Kimberlee how anyone would have known where the firearm was. Kimberlee's response was, quote, somebody must have been stalking me, end quote. The roommate said it was, quote unquote, far-fetched that somebody would have been watching Kimberlee if she manipulated the firearm. The roommate also questioned why Kimberlee would want to look at the firearm to begin with. During a break in the interview with the roommate, Detective Gasper collaborated with Detective Gardner and other members of the investigative team. Detective Gardner was also taking a break from his interview with Kimberlee. It was determined that the roommate and Kimberlee would be placed into a recorded interview room together while investigators continued to complete follow-up on the case. Investigators monitored the interaction between the roommate and Kimberlee via live video feed. The following statements were heard by investigators. So you know what, that way back here when they started the second interview with Kimberlee, it wasn't the daughter that was having the simultaneous interview, it's the roommate. So I apologize. I was inserting the daughter, not her name or anything, just the words the daughter in the redacted space because it's so freaking confusing. But apparently it was the roommate, not the daughter. So it's the second simultaneous interviews were between Kimberlee and the roommate. It's the second interview for Kimberlee, the first for the roommate. I just want to clear that up so I don't go on, so nobody thinks I'm a fraud, you know. I just want to make sure I'm transparent on my wording of things. Monitored the interaction between the roommate and Kimberlee. The following statements were heard by investigators. The roommate told Kimberlee it was only the two of them, the roommate and Kimberlee, who knew where the gun was located. Kimberlee said someone had been watching her. The roommate told Kimberlee nobody would be watching inside the house. Now I have an itchy throat. Sorry. Just one second. The roommate then questioned who would be watching inside the house from the outside. Kimberlee responded by saying a quote-unquote creeper who was planning on killing someone, end quote. Kimberlee said that it was what murderers do. They sit and watch people. Kimberlee further described people as being creepy and having sneaky ways. She sounds like she's a little messed up in the head. During further questioning by the roommate, Kimberlee said she had taken the gun down in November as she was going to bring it in to show an officer. Wow. The roommate acknowledged that that did not make sense and talked about the probability of that someone outside watching through a window is so unlikely. Kimberlee said they could have been using binoculars. The roommate asked Kimberlee how many times she would go into the closet and took out the gun, and Kimberlee said it was just the one time. The roommate commented that the person would have to be there at the right time, to which Kimberlee said they would have had to been consistently watching her. The roommate asked Kimberlee if she had been taking sleeping pills. Kimberlee said yes, as she had not been sleeping. The roommate told Kimberlee she was so secretive about what she does, but Kimberlee denied this. Kimberlee mentioned her sleeping patterns were off, so she had tried some sleeping pills. The roommate asked if Kimberlee had taken them all, and Kimberlee said she had taken one whole bottle. The roommate, didn't she tell the doctor or the detective that she only took one, and it made her feel woozy, so she quit taking them? The roommate said she was really upset, and she appeared to be referencing what this investigation is about. Kimberlee responded by saying she was too, but said she really wanted to leave because it was taking a long time. I'm sorry. We're trying to find out who unalived your kids. So I'm sorry if this is impeding on your alone time. Are you flipping kidding me? The roommate told Kimberlee that the daughter knew who attacked her. Kimberlee questioned that the daughter knew and further said that was interesting. Kimberlee looked at the roommate after this was mentioned, but never asked who the daughter said attacked her. Referring to the daughter said, the roommate referring to the daughter said, "Poor child," quote unquote. And Kimberlee responded by saying, quote unquote, "Yeah." While talking about when talking about the funeral arrangements and who would be making decisions about burials, Kimberlee said she had the same day, December 18th. What? Oh, Kimberlee said she had the roommate, but then commented that they, quote unquote, presumably the father and his attorney, technically filed their order as the same day, December 18th. I don't know what all that means. Kimberlee said she did not know if they said he would get custody of them until the hearing, on if she was just giving the kids to him until December 31st, as it was his parenting time. Detective Gardner, that was a bad paragraph. Detective Gardner entered the interview room with Kimberlee and the roommate. Detective Gardner mentioned that based on interviews and physical evidence at the scene, there were things that did not add up. As a result, DNA or DHS would not allow supervised visits with the daughter. Detective Gardner talked about how there were very few people who knew where the gun was kept, who had access to it, who would know that the door was unlocked but not open. Kimberlee replied, "Mm-hmm." Kimberlee was told that between what the daughter told investigators, what she, Kimberlee, had said, and what the scene shows, it did not make sense. Kimberlee was asked if there were any way if she had hurt the kids and herself. Kimberlee said no. Regarding evidence, Kimberlee said she did not know and thought the suspect probably were wearing gloves. Kimberlee was told by Detective Gardner that he had to look at the evidence he had, and he cannot discount evidence that we don't find. Okay. Detective Gardner continued by telling Kimberlee she had said it was probably really well planned, and that she previously said it was crazy and she did not know how someone else knew where the gun was was unless the person had been watching. Detective Gardner mentioned that she said she did not know if it was possible for just one person to watch her. She did not know if it was possible for just one person to watch her. Detective Gardner told Kimberlee this did not sound reasonable to her, and she is redacted. Detective Gardner mentioned that previously she did not talk about the knife, but today she said she picked it up and moved it. As the conversation continued, Kimberlee was asked if she had anything else she wanted to say. Kimberlee said she hoped Detective Gardner can find what he can find. Okay. She further said this is why she had told Detective Gardner that since he redacted always turned things around on her, she assumed he would try to make it look like she did it. As Detective Gardner was talking about the direction the investigation was pointing him, Kimberlee said he redacted just keeps doing things and getting away with it. She asked if it came to looking like she did it, what could she do? Kimberlee was told that she has provided lots of examples of what the father has done, being manipulative, spinning things, and has a lawyer who does the same thing. Detective Gardner told Kimberlee this, referring to the investigation, was not the right time. It was not redacted, not seeing the kids for 5 months. It was the shooting of 2 of his kids in the head and shaking and slashing their throats. Kimberlee replied, yeah, quote unquote. Detective Gardner asked Kimberlee how those things can logically be compared. Kimberlee responded by saying that aside for the fact that the father has always been abusive and a liar, he has told her in the past that he has fantasized about killing them. And he had talked to doctors. I'm sorry. He would talk and he had talked to demons and would be okay if something had happened. Kimberlee said the father has made strange, creepy comments and that she felt he was capable of doing anything. Ultimately, redacted, after hearing the line of questioning and statements made by Detective Gardner, said she thought Kimberlee needed an attorney. The interview concluded a few moments later. Oh my God, am I supposed to be able to read this? This is insane. Let's see if I can make this bigger. This is terrible. On December 21, 2023, your affiant conducted a follow-up interview with Redacted at the Police Operations Center. During that interview, your affiant asked Redacted about a conversation he had with a redacted, identified as redacted, which your affiant had been told about by redacted employer. The husband said a few months prior, he and redacted had been talking about redacted and redacted mentioned the father should watch the movie, Throw Mama from the Train, but didn't say anything further about it at the time. The father stated he later asked redacted what the movie was called, and when he was told the name, he tried to watch it but didn't like it. Your affiant is aware part of the plot of the movie is that 2 people will commit a murder for each other, so neither is suspected when someone close to them is killed. Redacted explained sometime after that, Redacted was drunk and came over to Redacted's house where he asked him what he thought of the movie. Redacted said Redacted further made statements that they should do that for each other, but Redacted kept changing the subject. Redacted said he never asked Redacted to do anything for him and never gave him Kimberlee's address or any information about her. Afterwards, Redacted told another Redacted he did not want Redacted hanging out with their group anymore because of what Redacted suggested. That Redacted was informed his employer of that information after learning of the murder of Redacted, which was then relayed to Affiant. Affiant also asked Redacted about the dream he had that had been mentioned by Kimberlee. The father stated in either 2016 or 2017, he was at a hotel and had a nightmare that a quote-unquote dark demon figure approached him in the hotel room and told him to kill the kids and Kimberlee. The father said it was a nightmare, but it felt so real that he was disturbed by it. The father said he and Kimberlee were still together at the time, and he thought he could talk to her about it, and he told her he would never do that. The father stated Kimberlee had used it against him ever since. Affiant asked the father if he remembered exactly what the figure said in the nightmare, and he said, quote, "You're going to kill the kids," end quote, or quote, "I want you to kill the kids and Kimberlee." During the interview, the father agreed to have his cell phone data downloaded. The father advised Affiant he was into criminal law type stuff, and he would see in his phone a couple of months ago where he was binge watching criminal cases that had happened, including family loss and murderers who thought they get away with it type stuff. The father said he watched those videos on YouTube and they had millions of views by people, but he just wanted to make Affiant aware of it on his phone. Affiant contacted Redacted regarding the statements previously made to Redacted, said he was intoxicated when he was at Redacted, and denied making the statements described by Redacted. Records showed Redacted clocked out of work on December 18th at 9:30 a.m. and at their business. Affiant asked Redacted where he went after work on that day, and he said he went home. Since the time of the initial investigation, investigators worked collaboratively with the CSPD Metro Crime Lab and the Colorado Bureau of Investigations to expedite DNA processing on items of evidence that were DNA relevant to this investigation. One of those items was the knife located at the scene. On December 21, 2023, the MCL provided a report to investigators which stated the knife had been processed for DNA and several conclusions had been made. The following conclusions were made by MCL. DNA was located on the handle, both on the right and left sides. The DNA testing confirmed the presence of blood. There was a mixture of two contributors. The major DNA profile was determined to match the DNA profile of Kimberlee Singler. On December 23rd, 2023, the CBL reported concerning the DNA testing on the handgun was provided to investigators. Of note, DNA from Redacted and Kimberlee were found in various locations on the handgun. Kimberlee Singler's and the roommate's DNA was found inside the magazine well. Based on the investigation to this point only, the roommate and Kimberlee Singler knew the presence of the handgun and its location within the bedroom closet. The roommate was not home on December 18th when the attack occurred. Therefore, it can logically be deduced that Kimberlee was the individual manipulating the handgun, which caused her and her kids' blood to get on the magazine. On December 25th, 2023, Sergeant K. Dabb, 2029, was contacted by the Redacted, told Sergeant Dabb that Redacted told her Redacted the truth about what happened and that she lied to everyone before. When asked what Redacted said happened, the Redacted reported Redacted said Redacted did it and told her Redacted to lie about it. The daughter mentioned that she had been feeling awful about the lie. The daughter, she asked redacted to call 911 and told her she couldn't find the phone. The daughter thought it was hours from the time she asked the daughter to call to when she actually called 911. The daughter talked about the Christmas music playing from Kimberlee's phone and said that was when Kimberlee found the phone and said she could call 911. The daughter also talked about, quote unquote, the adventure, which went on for about a month sometime in 2022. The daughter said Kimberlee took them from their house and drove them for hours before telling them they were going to stay in a hotel, stated the daughter. In a hotel. The daughter stated Kimberlee told them they were being chased by demons and people were doing witchcraft. She said Kimberlee told them not to tell anyone. She had said that because she would sound crazy. See, so she knows she's crazy. Your affiant would note on December 24th, 2023, a missing persons report was taken for Kimberlee Singler. Kimberlee's redacted reported she had last spoken to her on December 23rd at approximately 7:30 p.m. and later received a text message that Kimberlee was going to see a movie. When the roommate woke up on December 24th, she saw Kimberlee's vehicle was not in the parking lot of the hotel they were staying, and she was unable to locate Kimberlee. The roommate told officers the last time she went missing, she was found in St. George, Utah, and Kimberlee had recently spoken about wanting to live in Florida. Officers checked Kimberlee's hotel room and found all of Kimberlee's items had been removed. At the time of this affidavit, your affiant has not been able to confirm where Kimberlee Singler is located. Based on the information listed in this affidavit, your affiant believes Kimberlee is a danger to her child, redacted, possibly also to redacted, and is also a risk of fleeing the jurisdiction. Because of that, your affiant is requesting an elevated bond of $10 million. Your affiant would respectfully request that probable cause be found that Singler, Kimberlee, date of birth, did within the city of Colorado Springs, County of El Paso, State of Colorado, commit in violation of the Colorado Revised Statutes 1973 as amended, the offense of murder in the first degree, class 1 felony, murder in the first degree, class 1 felony, criminal attempt, murder in the first degree, class 2 felony, class 2 felony, child abuse, class 2 felony, 2 counts, and child abuse, class 3 felony, assault in the first degree, class 3 felony. Related cases, none. And then it's signed by Rebecca Jones. So, what do you guys think? I want you guys in the comments, just let me know what you think about this case. And do you think Kimberlee did it? Do you think she's got some psych issues or mental defects? I mean, it sounds like she's got some issues, but I'm not sure if they would justify what she did. Nothing can justify what she did, but what I'm saying is I think she's criminally responsible. I don't think that she's insane by any stretch of the imagination, because she's going through such extremes to stay free. You know, she fled the country. She didn't just flee her hotel room or the state. She fled the country to a country that she knew didn't extradite people. You can't tell me that was a coincidence. She didn't have family there. She's never lived there before. I don't even know that she's ever been there before, but she knew they don't extradite. So why did she win? I mean, it sounds like she's, you know, consciousness of guilt all the way, right? I mean, I don't know how you can, but we have to wait. We have to wait for the trial. She's she deserves a fair trial, and she deserves a trial of with a jury of her peers. So we need to follow her constitutional rights, make sure that they're all that she can't go. It has to. She has to face what she's done. If she didn't do it, then this will, right? Oh, weird. Um, but yeah. So I'm not sure when her next hearing is. I will look out and keep you. There are some other hearings are coming up, and I will follow them and see if any of them are televised. I know that the Allender brothers trial, or the jury selection, started last week. Started the same day that Aaron Spencer's trial was supposed to start, or jury selection, I should say. And but there have been no updates as to how many jurors did or anything. So I have been looking into that to keep you posted. And as soon as I hear about that case, I will let you know. And as far as the Mickey Steins, the ex-sheriff in who shot the judge Chambers, they have not announced a date as to when his trial is expected to start. Of course, they didn't announce his last hearing until after it happened either. So there's that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a case that not a lot of people are talking about, but it needs to be, people need to hear about it. People need to know that this kind of thing is going on. And yeah, a lot of this kind of thing going on, it seems like lately. But I don't know if it's the fact, I don't know if it's more of this is happening or if we're just hearing about it more because of the internet. Before, you had to watch the news or read the newspaper, and the likelihood, especially if you lived in a small town like I did, the likelihood of your newspaper having any of these stories from other states was pretty unlikely unless it was a huge story. So I don't think it's necessarily happening more now. I think it's just that we're hearing about it more because of the internet. I hope that's the case anyway, because I would hate to think that it's happening more. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you real soon. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, stay happy. Thanks. Bye.